Fans, good evening to you and happy Easter weekend. Welcome to Rio Tinto Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah on a beautiful but chilly late March Saturday evening as we open up play in USL action here tonight at Rio Tinto Stadium between the Real Monarchs and St. Louis FC. I'm Bill Riley, joined tonight by Carla Haslam, a member of the Real women's program and the BYU Cougar as well. We're going to talk a little soccer with you here tonight on a Saturday night as the Monarchs open up play for their second season in USL soccer. And Carla, a year ago, there were a lot of high expectations for the club, but it was a little trial by fire and probably didn't meet some of the preseason expectations. It was a tough first year for the Monarchs, but certainly expectations are higher coming into this season.
Well, definitely. You get the first year out of the way. You know, a lot of the players have been now playing with each other. They know each other a little better. So obviously I think they're hoping that this preseason will start off a lot better than it did last year. I mean, they ended the last year on a high note. Now the question is if they can carry that sort of energy, that sort of intensity into the beginning of this upcoming season.
Well, they were much better here at home, certainly, than they were on the road last year. They finished with 4 of 5 wins here at Rio Tinto Stadium, finished with a 6-3-5 mark, which is a marked improvement from where they were early in the season. There's a lot of familiar faces back. We may not see a lot of them back tonight because tonight's lineup, which we'll get to in a minute, is going to be an interesting mix of senior club players and USL players. But a lot of those same key players from a year ago are back for year number 2 here with the Monarchs.
Of course, and you see that's going to make a big difference in the game. I mean, the back line, with the exception of Justin Glad, you know, is that same back line that was playing the year prior. And so, you know, we're hoping to have a lot more confidence in those boys. As you stated, half of the team, you know, comprises of the RSL group, so that's going to play an interesting factor in, you know, how they play tonight. A lot of these players didn't have time to play with each other prior to this game, so, you know, the confidence may be more in that back line who actually got to play together.
Well, there's been a lot of training time, certainly, but there hasn't been a lot of on-field match time here, and that's what tonight's about. As I mentioned, and we'll take a look at the starting lineups here this evening. We'll start first with the Monarchs starting lineup, and you'll see some familiar names if you're a fan of the senior club, Real Salt Lake. There's a good number of RSL players, including the guy at the top of that lineup list, Devin Sandoval, getting some run here tonight. Then you'll go with Brody. Move down, you'll see the top draft pick, Omar Holness, is on that list. Luke Mulholland and John Sturzer handling kind of the middle of the field tonight for Freddie Suarez's team. And then, of course, you've got Lakawicki, Orozco, Glad, and Arnone in the back, and then a very good backup keeper. This guy is as good a backup as you'll find and could probably start for most teams in Major League Soccer. That's Jeff Attinella. What stands out about that first 11 tonight for the Monarchs?
You know, for me, I'm looking for Luke Mulholland in the midfield. I mean, already a prominent name for the RSL group. But if you're going to be able to control that midfield, I think that's going to be the key for today's game. Get those Real guys, get the experienced guys, put them in the midfield, and see if they can create something in the attacking third for the forwards.
On the other side, it's time for a starting lineup now here for St. Louis FC this evening, and they'll go with Mark Pay in the back, Musa, Cochran, A.J. Cochran, a familiar name to a lot of Major League Soccer fans. And I'm anxious to see Shuma, who's back again, Sheila Shuma, who we saw a year ago. So should be interesting tonight as they roll out their first 11 here this evening at Rio Tinto Stadium.
Yeah, and see, both teams are kind of in the same situation in that, you know, it's their second year, as it is for St. Louis, and they have a lot of brand new players too. So the two teams are going to have some adjusting to do, and the team that adjusts the quickest is probably the team that's going to win the game.
Temperature conditions here tonight: blue skies, some clouds overhead. You can see the snow on the Wasatch Mountains behind the stadium here in Sandy, a suburb of Salt Lake City, and it should be chilly here this evening as well. We'll take a timeout. National anthem going right now. We'll come back with a couple of game keys from Carla and the start of tonight's match. It's the Monarchs and St. Louis FC coming up straight ahead.
This is Real Monarchs Soccer on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700.
Back at Rio Tinto Stadium, teams have been introduced. Captains shaking hands here tonight. Orozco will wear the captain's armband this evening for the home side. Freddie Suarez's team should be outstanding here this evening. And I think as you look at this team moving forward, Carla, they're going to grow and grow and grow. Tonight we've got a fair number of RSL players in the lineup, but we'll see some of those guys moved out to the senior club and some other guys moved in. Give me a couple of game keys from your playing days, whether it's with the RSL women or with BYU, in your first match of the season when you don't have a lot of on-field time together in match time. What are some of the big keys?
You know, the big thing is come out with the energy, right? Again, a lot of these RSL guys and the Monarch guys haven't played together. But if you come out with a team that has tons of energy, is willing to make their runs, it sets a tone for the rest of the game. Another thing, I think back to the UNLV game the Monarchs played here at Rio Tinto this past month. And I think if they're going to win the game, they're going to have a lot better midfield distribution than they did in that game. Adding that energy, adding the distribution on the field is going to allow a lot of opportunities in front of the goal.
Monarchs in the home red with the blue trunks tonight. If you're making your way out, if you're watching the stream here tonight, USL.com, you can take a look at this pitch. It won't be a pitch that you see much longer here at Rio Tinto Stadium. It's coming up in May, Carla. There's going to be a brand new field here by the time June runs around, but that means this team, the Monarchs, Real Salt Lake, and probably even the Real women aren't going to be in this stadium for about 6 weeks while they put down the new turf.
Yeah, definitely. And having to change it up, those new developments, it's exciting for the club, it's exciting for the franchise. But, it does take some adjusting to take to, but nonetheless, exciting, new.
And we'll hope very, very green by the time June rolls around here tonight. There's a look at Devin Sandoval. Sandoval holding down the top here tonight in the attack. Used to seeing him wearing number 49 with the senior club. He'll wear number 34 here this evening. Some of his senior club mates, and Luke Mulholland and John Sturcher, will hold down the middle of the midfield. And Jeff Attanella in goal here tonight for the Real Monarchs.
And see, they're going to be dependent on these senior players who, are experienced in the game. They're going to be dependent on them to bring some confidence to the field.
Underway here tonight. St. Louis in the road white here this evening. Sturzer with his first touch, sends it up the near sideline, held in by St. Louis.
And already you can feel that energy that we're talking about. Start the season off right. Start the first game off with that energy, that passion. Press every ball, increase your line of confrontation.
Dixon plays one over the top. Orozco settles it. Back toward him. The captain takes a touch with the pressure on him and sends it back forward. St. Louis intercepts, though. Center of the defense. Played out wide near side now. Duty back at midfield to Cochran. Through the center of the pitch it comes. Bond, wearing the captain's armband, plays it out wide. Touch for Renkin now. 30 yards out, top of the box. Easily read and cleared now by Mulholland. Held in, though, by Duty, and back out it comes again. So St. Louis keeping good pressure and keeping it in the Monarchs' final third. Near sideline. Up the near sideline it comes. Mayer with it. Gets a touch back. Arnone can't clear. Neither can Glad, but Sturzer there easily. And the Monarchs will try to play some possession now. Mulholland into some space ahead. Couple of touches now.
See both teams trying to play wide, trying to create some space for themselves.
The little man there in the middle is a Monacona. First year with the Monarchs, played collegiately at the University of Dayton. Has a touch through. Big Dev can't get to it. Turned back the other way. Hardware. Intercepted and taken right back away by John Sturzer.
Both teams seem to be developing a pretty good rhythm here. You see Real's trying to pass around, not trying to force anything.
Back to the keeper pace. In that day glow yellow. He'll take a couple of touches and wave everybody forward now. Third minute, scoreless here tonight. Monarchs home opener at Rio Tinto Stadium. Bill Riley and Carla Haslam with you here this evening. Online in the online stream from USLsoccer.com and also on our flagship radio home, ESPN 700 Radio in the Intermountain West. Header forward, settled. Now a trip and a takedown from behind. Omar Holness, young Jamaican from North Carolina, top pick of Real Salt Lake this year. St. Louis FC on the attack, back the other way at the halfway line. Near side switch, taken down by Mayer. Into the box it comes. And Lakawecki just allows Jeff Attinella to do his business in back. Lakawecki, Notre Dame grad, native of Evansville, Indiana. He was the 25th overall pick in this year's Super Draft. Holness, back to Arnone. Justin Glad now. Good pressure again by St. Louis to keep it in that final third. Whistle and a foul going against the Monarchs.
Seems like St. Louis is really trying to press it on that left side. You know, I don't know if they're trying to pull the Monarchs towards one side to that switch, but it's been pretty successful in moving it out wide, getting into the space, and then, Bill, they're looking for the cross.
Lots of switches, lots of crosses so far here from St. Louis. The captain, Bond, will stand over it. Chad Bond clips it into the box. Backside, header wide, and Attinella will have a goal kick. Coming up on minute number 5, want to keep you up to date all year long with all the USL action by visiting USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. Visit them online at USLsoccer.com. Sturzer in back. He'll walk it forward here for the Monarchs. Monarchs have not had much possession in the St. Louis final third. Glad back across. Sturzer. He'll roll it back to his keeper, Jeff Attinella. Attinella backs up Nick Raimondo for the senior club, Real Salt Lake. And I'll tell you, there's probably 5 or 6 teams in Major League Soccer that would love to have Jeff Attinella as their starting keeper. RSL very fortunate when Raimondo is away on national team duty or injured for whatever reason to have Jeff Attinella in goal.
Well, he's been great for them. I mean, it's no surprise that Freddie Juarez decided to put Attinella back there. Just very confident, very sure, and he organizes his defense great. It's
a great opportunity, too, for Jeff to get some action, too, because, let's face it, Raimondo's been such an Iron Man and not getting probably nearly the national team calls that he's gotten in recent years. So Jeff may not have as many opportunities this year in regular season. Certainly U.S. Open Cup will provide some opportunities for him. All the way back to Pay. He'll loft it high up the near sideline. Flip forward there by Bond. Good win by Glad. Taken right back away by Schuma. Out wide it comes. Lakawecki couldn't control. St. Louis turns it back the other way through the center circle, and a great step by Glad. Schuma. Back again. Rankin. Bushu. Switch again here to the near sideline as they find their man up along this near sideline, Mayer.
And Mayer was wide open. Monarchs got to be careful that they don't get too caught on one side of the field.
Freddie Juarez up, barking instructions to his team on this chilly Saturday night, Easter weekend in Salt Lake City. Schuma cut down in the back by the captain Orozco. Might have sold that one a little too hard. Here comes John Sturzer lofting a high ball forward to Devin Sandoval. Big Dev gets a touch, but can't keep it in along that far sideline. Flag comes up. Minute 7, 0-0 here tonight at Rio Tinto Stadium. Regular season and home opener tonight for the Real Monarchs. Bond, who's been active in the middle of the field. Couple of touches, rolls it across. A.J. Cochran up the near sideline now. Good win again by Arnone.
And that just shows that first touch is so critical.
Out wide again. They'll try that far side this time. A lot of real estate in front. Dixon gets it back again. Forward now and too far for Schuma. Holness. Back to Orozco.
Monarchs are playing a pretty deep defensive line, trying to create some space for themselves. As we can see here, now moving it forward.
Big Devin Sandoval, couple of touches. He'll pick his head up and test the keeper from distance. 30 yards out, pretty good shot. Easily read by the St. Louis keeper, but a good opening salvo there for Devin Sandoval.
Yeah, and I say test out the keeper, right? I mean, test it out, get some shots off. You know, again, it sets that tone for the forwards that we want to score, we want to shoot.
Almost a little danger in back that time as Orozco and Attanella weren't quite on the same page. Jeff catches up and lays it off now for John Sturtzer. 9th minute and 0-0. Monarchs with the first shot of the night. Halfway line. Ball played back now to the keeper. Sent right back out again. Bushew. Long ball forward looking for Schuma. Glad and Orozco come together. Now trouble in back. Cross in front.
Wow.
Saved by Attanella. They couldn't get it to Schuma, who was standing on a bait at 8 yards out.
And you know Schuma's just yelling at his teammate, I'm wide open. But that's a difficult ball to play.
Was tailing away from it looked like hardware. Monarchs in possession. Orozco picking out Lakowecki up that far side across the halfway line, and a negative ball back now to Orozco, who plays it all the way back to Attanella.
And Orozco is going to be another one of those experienced players. I mean, while he didn't play with Real, he has so much experience playing professionally. Again, he's going to be another one of those people who just gives them strength in the back line.
He's part of the Tigres organization when he first broke into the game. Played as well in the NASL for Fort Lauderdale. Got a cup of coffee, if you will, with Chivas USA before joining the Monarchs last year. Glad battles and wins it in the air. Up ahead to Luke Mulholland. Luke to Holness. Holness into the 18. Tried to leave it for Sandoval, but a little too much on it, and Big Dev couldn't get there. St. Louis with a break back the other way. Bond. Two-man game up the near sideline. Now they'll work another man in. Long run here for Duty. Glad clips it off of Duty and out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the Monarchs. Become a fan of the USL and do it on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content and comments. Go to Facebook and become a fan of the USL. Monarchs throw down below near sideline. Hardware finds his man Schuma. Schuma cuts it back to his right, lays it back, shot save Attanella.
Schuma's doing a great job of finding the space. I mean, sometimes his teammates aren't getting it to him, but like right there, able to find the seams, able to pass the ball back. He's a very dangerous player.
Mayer just kind of, it almost looked like a half volley with his left, didn't get a lot on it, and Attanella had the near post covered. Let's see what the Monarchs might be able to convert here and create as they pass along that back line. Orozco. Chopped down up near the midfield center circle is Brody. Former RSL Academy product. Played collegiately at the University of Louisville. Through the center circle it comes. Second year Monarch. Arnone. And the ball kicked out of bounds by St. Louis FC.
You see, Arnone's trying to do the same thing that happened on the far side with Schuma. I think he's realizing that finding the seams is going to be a lot more helpful than playing to his feet, especially when St. Louis is playing so deep with their defensive line.
Amon Kona, well, he's not a real big guy, is he?
Definitely not, but
he is a tiny little guy at 5. They list him at 5'7", but that might be generous.
I was going to say, I think they're giving him a couple inches. Luckily, he's a quick one out there, and he's very smart. You know, his coaches say they love him for his work ethic and his intelligence.
Lakawecki wide for Brody. In it comes and sent right back out again. That was a pretty ball from Brody. It hung, but nobody in red could get on the opposite end. And St. Louis tries a counter now as Sturzer dives in. Hardware. Long diagonal ball, probably too much there as he's trying to find Rankin. And that will trickle over the end line for a goal kick. I think Hardware probably could have taken another touch, maybe two, Carla. He didn't have anybody in front of him.
Yeah, well, I think the Monarchs started to panic and they dropped their entire back line. Hardware probably didn't realize that he had a lot more space than he thought he did.
14th minute, 0-0. Regular season and home opener tonight here in Salt Lake City. Real Monarchs. Holness, well defended along the back line. It's kicked out of bounds. RSL, or I should say the Real Monarchs will throw in.
Monarchs started a little slow, but now they're trying to control the ball more. I think starting to play to those wing players, possess it. Starting to get a little more of a rhythm than they did in the first 5 minutes of the match.
Justin Glad with a couple of touches as he approaches midfield. Center circle to Mulholland and back to Glad. Glad, a Real Salt Lake Academy product. Spent time with both the senior club and the Monarchs a year ago. This was a young man that had a chance to play collegiately at Stanford and said, nope, I don't want to go to school. I want to play soccer. That's hard to do. I'll tell you, that's hard to do. When Stanford offers a scholarship, there aren't many that turn it down, but Justin said that the pull of professional soccer was a little too much. All the way back it comes. Sandoval pressures as they play to pay.
Both teams trying to play east to west.
Left-footed ball up along the near sideline. Arnone does a nice job keeping it in. And Sturzer comes away with it. Moncona wins it back for the boys in red. Battles and keeps it alive as he plays it across now to Lakawecki. Now Mulholland comes deep to get it, and he's pressured. Lakawecki. Left-footed ball, trying to get it through to Sandoval, does. Devin just outside the 6. Sandoval plays it back, and it's cleared off the line nicely by Musa.
That was a great idea, but there is no one for Sandoval. I mean, the players that were running into the box were marked. You know, they need to curve their run. Somebody to get a little more space.
Throw in far sideline, Monarchs. Mulholland will leave it for Brody. 16th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Near the corner flag, Sandoval. Back to Brody. Trying to play a two-man game. He went down. No whistle from our referee. Schuma keeping pressure on that back line, and it goes out of bounds. Touched last by St. Louis. Orozco across, Justin Glad. Glad high and long. Up that far side to Brody. Monarchs on the attack. More jerseys in the attack. Brody giving chase. Left-footed service across, and Musa heads it over the end line. We'll have our first corner kick tonight. Good run by Brody to set up the first corner of the night here for the Monarchs.
Yeah, I think they're trying to find all that space is towards the corners. All that space is towards the wing. I think they recognize that St. Louis is parking the bus right on the top of the 18.
Corner kick far side. Mulholland will take it here. The Englishman raises the arm, puts it back in play, line drive into the 6 and skips right back out again. Brody keeps it in, hops once, he'll get another look at it, across and headed wide, and bicycled out finally by St. Louis FC.
That was some great soccer there, especially Brody. You know, tracking back now. That's what you want from your players.
Great pressure by the Monarchs, nothing to show for it just yet. Well defended by Mulholland. Throw in far sideline for St. Louis. 18th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium in Salt Lake City. And scoreless so far as we open up play in the USL for 2016. Bushu plays it back. Couple of touches. Get it forward for Schuma. Now Hardware. Wide for Dixon. Service through, nobody there. Across the top of the 18 and out of bounds it goes.
And you can see Attanella that entire time directing his team where to go, where, who to mark up on. Really helps his defensive line out, especially when a cross is coming so quickly.
Arnone to throw it in. Young man who began his collegiate career at St. John's and decided to finish up at Michigan. Guy that plays right back for RSL began his collegiate career at St. John's, a guy named Tony Beltran. And then he finished his career at UCLA.
Soccer world's a pretty small world. And it's funny how they always end up playing for the same teams.
Especially at the highest level. Here's Arnone in back, couple of touches, being pressured and turns it back upfield. Skips out of bounds near the halfway line, and St. Louis FC will throw in there.
And Arnone's not a very flashy player, but he's pretty solid in the back. He knows when to get rid of it, when to clear it out, when to pass it.
Played in 21 games a year ago for the Monarchs, made 11 starts. We saw him play mostly in the back, but he did see a little bit of time in the midfield. Across the back line, A.J. Cochran. Up along this near sideline to Patrick Duty. Ball clipped ahead. Lakawecki getting back, plays it across to his captain, who plays it back to Lakawecki. Plays it back to Orozco, who's going to have to clear. A couple of white jerseys closing in. St. Louis holds in on the clearance. Mulholland plays it wide. It's held in there. Amancona can't control. Rankin does. '21st minute at Rio Tinto Stadium. You can follow all the USL action and all the USL news on Twitter. Keep up to date with all the live action during the 2016 USL season and do it on Twitter. Back to Attanella, who clears it out through the center circle. Amancona just gets that 5'7" frame on it and flicks it forward across midfield, right back to St. Louis again.
And I think he's been having difficulty with that height because all the balls that have come to him have been in the air.
Cochran plays it near sideline to Duty. Patrick Duty to the captain Bond. And back across it comes to Musa. Line drive ball, too tall for Schuma. And rolls back to Attanella, who outlets quickly to Justin Glad. Right along the near sideline, Arnone picks his head up, lofts a ball forward for Sandoval, and Sandoval pushed into from behind by Musa, and the Monarchs earn themselves a free kick just outside the area.
Musa slow on the tackle, but I do think Sandoval sold it a bit.
It was a hand to the back. He extended the arm, and that was an easy call for the referee, and this is going to be a great spot for a free kick. Mulholland's already stepping to that spot. They'll put it down about 21, 22 yards out, just about straight on.
It's these set pieces that make and break games. This could be the, for all we know, this could be the one goal of the match if they were to put it away.
Mulholland and Holness standing over it here. Minute 23. Just past the halfway point of tonight's first half of the regular season opener for the Monarchs. Mulholland, will he have a go? He will. Up and over the top. Goal kick here for St. Louis. Not a bad look, but he couldn't keep it down. Goal kick here for St. Louis FC. High and long up the near sideline. Taken down. Amankona still running at the defense, sprays it out wide for Brody. Brody around one man, right-footed ball in. Sandoval gets to it, can't get a shot on, then he takes a deflection off his back on the clearance, and finally St. Louis FC clears. And out of bounds touch last by Arnone.
Monarchs are doing a really good job of getting the ball into the box. I mean, it seems like St. Louis is packing all their team back, but the Monarchs are seeming to get a way in, and it's through using that right side.
Carla, what switched for you? The first 10 minutes of this match, everything was being played on the Monarchs end here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Now for about the last 10, 12 minutes, it's been the other way. What's changed here for the Monarchs?
The Monarchs, I think, are realizing that the space is not in the center of the field. The first 10 minutes of the field, they were forcing everything down the middle, whereas now they're starting to look wide, and they're starting to realize that that's where the space is. That's how we're going to get in behind St. Louis's defensive line. And now that we're pushing it right to left, east to west, they're starting to get a lot more opportunities.
Jameel Hardware had it go off him, and his teammates just kind of stood around and watched it go out of bounds. So Tyler Arnone will throw in right in front of the St. Louis FC bench. Duty sends it back upfield. Now Schuma gets a touch, but Sturtzer's there to clean it up for the home side. Lakawecki back. Now Glad near sideline. Pokes it forward for Arnone. Behind Brody. Brody can't control. And a handball is going to go against Brody. It popped up and hit him in the arm.
You know, I think another thing too, Bill, is the Monarchs' defensive line has moved up substantially than they were in the first 5 minutes.
You mentioned early on they were really taking a deep line.
Very deep, and now they're starting to move up. You know, their line of confrontation's almost to the halfway line, as opposed to where they were playing next to Antonella.
26th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Duty lofts a high ball forward. Can't find his men, and Mulholland tries to turn it back upfield. Bond's got it instead. Good step by Holness to break it up. Sandoval flicking it ahead.
You know, Sandoval had a good idea there, but when you recognize it's 2v4, you know, I think you have to hold the ball and possess. Allow yourself to get the advantage, especially as you enter the attacking third.
Well, and if you're going to play that, you have to play it almost right to the feet, not in space ahead to the man that's running there, because you had two defenders get to it before he could.
No, the texture just has to be perfect on it.
That pass didn't find anyone. St. Louis turns it back upfield. Bushhue out wide, and this is where St. Louis has probably found their most success, up that far sideline here in the first half.
Well, it just seems like Schuma always finds himself open.
Long run, that's going to be Dixon. Right-footed service. Oh, that wasn't a service. That was a shot at the near post or a miss hit. Either way, it's a goal kick for Antonella. And he had Schuma running right down the middle of the 18 that time. Sturtzer in back, rolls it across to Justin Glad. We've also seen a little separation here too. You've got Sturtzer dropping deeper, you've got Mulholland playing more in a forward position, and they've really let Arnone play a lot. It's almost three in the back right now with Arnone getting up the near sideline.
Yeah, they're taking some chances, but again, I think it's all to develop some space on the wings. They're seeing right now, you know, we have players wide open, so I think they're willing to drop a defender, or excuse me, to move a defender forward, you know, in hopes that it gives us more space.
No, it was a tough first year for Freddie Juarez, but he likes what he has. He knows these kids because he coached these kids in the academy down in Arizona, and he knows the talent that's here. It was just the adjustment to playing professionally last year for a lot of these guys that are just 18, 19, 20 years old. Here comes Brody. Brody's in. Good recovery, though, by Duty to break it up. It looked for a moment like Brody would have some space, but the pressure too much, and that's going to be a throw in deep in the St. Louis end here for the Monarchs. We've also seen here, as this first half has developed, Carla, Andrew Brody was playing on the far side. Now he's switched over here to the near side.
No, definitely, and it's all in an effort to lose your mark. I mean, defenses obviously are going to follow you wherever you go, but switching in and out creates more space for Sandoval up top.
28th minute. Want to remind you to check out USL Soccer on Instagram. See match highlights, action shots from games around the USL, and do it on Instagram. USL very social media conscious. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow it all over the place. YouTube as well. 29th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium, almost a half hour in. Arnone will throw and try and get it into the 18 if he can. Devin Sandoval posting up, but they've got him marked well. Back to Mulholland instead. Held in by Sturzer. Rankin. Playing it out wide. Dixon plays it back centrally now for Cochran. A.J. Cochran rolls it near side to Duty. Left-footed ball forward. Arnone slipped, and Schuma couldn't get it. That was bad spacing between Hardware and Schuma.
Justin Glad did a great job of containing. He didn't go towards the ball. He didn't attack. Just contain him until he got numbers back, and ultimately they ended up winning the ball.
Playing an advantage here is Amankona. Took down Bushu in the middle of the field. Mayer trying to slide that ball to Schuma. Couldn't get it there. Two defenders instead for the Monarchs. Glad across to the captain, Orozco. Orozco appeared in 22 matches a year ago for the Monarchs. We've played a half hour here at Rio Tinto and still scoreless. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. You can follow Nike Soccer at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest action and all the Nike Soccer information you need. Holness down. And a foul against St. Louis FC. Ooh, a late challenge from behind there.
You can tell he's going.
We'll get a stern lecture.
You can tell he's going for the tactical foul there, try to get his whole team behind him. But you're right, I don't think the ref was too happy about that one.
That will probably be the lone warning that young man gets. John Sturzer having a conversation right now with the referee. Back in play it comes. Lakawecki trying to get it forward to Holness. St. Louis clears across midfield. Glad all the way back to Attinella. Jeff spreads his guys out. Clears it back upfield himself. Good flick on it back. Mulholland has a go. And it takes a deflection, and St. Louis clears. St. Louis FC now with trying to counter. No numbers, though. They'll run 2v4 and almost 5. Out wide to Schuma. Schuma. Back to Duty.
Monarchs doing a great job of just pushing everything back. Just contain, push everything back.
Musa forward. Finds Rankin. Now Dixon back to Rankin. Bit of possession here from the boys in white. Sliding it through, trying to find Mayer. He's got it. Bushu. Back to Mayer. Rankin now. Center circle it comes to Cochran. This is the best possession either team's had in a while. Duty cuts it back. And now Hardware, top of the box. Tries to slot it through, but he got it on the wrong side to Schuma. And easily scooped there by Attinella.
It's a great turn by Hardware. I mean, he could feel his defender on his left side, took it with the outside of his right foot, able to turn easily.
33rd minute, 0-0 so far. Glad picks his head up. Looked like he wanted to make a switch, but nobody was there. Kicked out of bounds by Duty, right at the halfway line.
You know, we're reaching the last 10-15 minutes of the half, and already you can feel the energy starting to drop a little more. You know, it was high intensity at the beginning of the game, beginning of the season, and now both teams are starting to relax a bit.
Orozco. Well, this is that time in matches we've heard from Real Salt Lake players for years, and you know this too, playing at altitude in Provo and here. This is about that time where the altitude starts to impact the legs and the legs and the lungs of your opponents that aren't used to playing at altitude.
Oh, definitely. This is when you get your opponents, you know, make them pay.
Bushu back up the field. Long ball over the top and the flag up as Shuma was in an offside position. Good thought. Referee's assistant on the far side had it.
Monarchs doing a great job of just moving that line forward. I mean, you saw the offsides trap happening seconds before. And I think that's what Freddie Juarez was wanting, is that offsides trap to move the defensive line forward.
Here's Brody. 2 defenders in front. Chooses to get rid of it. And it's out of bounds, touched last by St. Louis. All the USL matches this year are available live and free in HD on YouTube. You can follow the action of the USL all year long on the USL YouTube channel. That may be how many of you are watching Carla and I here tonight. The Monarchs and St. Louis FC. And we've got a Monarchs player down on that far side, and goodness gracious, that's Omar Holness. And it's never a good sign when the players from the other team are waving the doctors and the training staff forward immediately, but that's what we've got right here.
Yeah, I didn't even see what happened, and he wasn't hit by anything, he collapsed.
Now they're waving the paramedics on the field. Goodness gracious.
You can tell they're all in a state of panic. You know, you're praying he's okay.
Rolling that paramedics stretcher and gurney out to Omar Holness right now. He's being tended to by now the paramedics and the Real Salt Lake and Real Monarchs medical staff.
Now, again, you know it's not a good thing when both teams, you can tell, are worried.
Most of the players have walked away now. Orozco and Sandoval are still there as the medical staff tends to Omar Holness right now. I didn't see what happened. It happened behind the play.
It seemed as if he just collapsed. And St. Louis, when they went to go check on him, you could tell they were just panicked.
We're in the 36th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. 0-0 between the Monarchs and St. Louis FC, but soccer very much secondary right now as the medical and training staff are tending to Omar Holness, the rookie out of North Carolina. Again, Holness went down behind the play. Most of the players have walked away. Only Devin Sandoval standing there as the medical staff tends to Holness right now.
Yeah, and I mean, that's difficult for your teammates. You know, be able to see one of your teammates you can tell is suffering and something's wrong. It's hard to mentally stay focused in the game while, you know, a teammate you love and care about is out there.
Many of the players are now walking toward the bench while the medical staff continues to tend to Omar. We'll effort a medical update of some sort from the field here in just a bit. Freddie Juarez trying to keep all of his field players on the field right now and away from the bench as much as possible. Opening night of soccer tonight for the USL here in Salt Lake City has been paused for just a bit for medical attention to Omar Holness. Top pick of Real Salt Lake in this year's Super Draft. It's a guy that I know Craig Weibel and Jeff Kassar both have very high hopes for. Native of Jamaica. He's a very, very good player at the University of North Carolina.
No, and he's been playing great this game. I mean, this half he's created lots of space, lots of runs. He's able to set up his teammate for a shot.
For those listening in on the radio, if John LaFollette's back at the studio right now, let's take about a 3-minute break, John, if we can. I know this is short notice for you, but let's take a quick 3-minute break while they tend to him, and we'll see what we can do and get some information for you here at Rio Tinto Stadium. RSL, or I should say the Real Monarchs and St. Louis FC tonight in the opener, 0-0, as medical attention continues on the field to Omar Holness. We'll be back to Rio Tinto Stadium in just a few. We've had a stoppage in play here between the Real Monarchs and St. Louis FC. Young defender, midfielder Omar Holness went down behind the play. Again, I didn't see it. Carla, you may have seen more than I did, but there didn't appear to be any contact or collision with another player. He appeared to just collapse. We've got the medical team and the paramedics on the field right now. An ambulance has been brought out to take Omar to a local hospital. But again, I didn't see the collision. You saw him collapse behind the play.
Yeah, well, and you know, you didn't see any players around him. You heard him kind of yell out a little bit, collapse, and you knew something was wrong immediately when the other team, St. Louis, ran to him, you know, asking for the paramedics, saying that he was in need of emergency help.
Right now, you've got doctors and paramedics from Sandy City gathered around him, getting him, I believe, on a gurney right now. They've brought an ambulance out onto the field, and they're helping Omar Holness into the ambulance as we speak. His teammates are coming out to check on him. Appear to be saying a little prayer here. St. Louis on the near sideline, continuing to loosen up and warm up, and Omar Holness now being wheeled into the ambulance here at Rio Tinto Stadium.
No, we pray for him and his family and hope that everything's okay.
We'll try to get you an update at some point through the evening here on his status and what may have occurred. But right now we sit late in the first half in a scoreless match. We'll take one more short 2-minute timeout. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a warming up period here. We'll kind of reset what we've seen so far and hopefully complete the end of the first half for you here in the next couple of minutes. It's the Monarchs 0 and St. Louis FC 0. We'll take another short timeout and hopefully be back with resumed action here momentarily in Salt Lake City. Back at Rio Tinto Stadium, Bill Riley, Carla Haslam. We've had a delay in tonight's match due to an injury or medical condition for Monarchs rookie Omar Holness, who collapsed on the field just about 10 minutes ago. He's in an ambulance here at Rio Tinto Stadium. They'll be getting that ambulance off the field momentarily. Both teams have loosened up down below. I'm not sure where they're going to put us here. We were in about the 35th, 37th minute when everything took place. My guess is we'll have 7-8 minutes of play time and then get to halftime in a scoreless match so far, Carla, that hasn't seen a lot of chances created either way.
Yeah, no, it's difficult because both teams are getting the attacking third and both teams have developed a rhythm. So it would only make sense that we're scoring goals and we're getting shots, but none of the shots have seemed to be, whether it be on frame or away from the goalie. You know, so I think it is all going to add up to finishing in the attacking third. That's all it is, finishing. It's the same issue that the Monarchs had last season. You know, they would have opportunities on goal. They were getting shots. They had high shot percentages, but they weren't putting the finishing touch away.
For me, the best player on the field for either side tonight so far has been Shilo Shuma, the young man from Zimbabwe who has played up top here tonight, number 32 for St. Louis. He has created space and opportunity. He's been very good in the final third. Obviously, still no results to show either way. The best opportunity tonight for the Real Monarchs might have been that shot from distance by Luke Mulholland, but to me, Shuma's been the best player on the pitch. What about for the Monarchs? Who's impressed you so far for the Monarchs?
For the Monarchs, you know, for me, it's I've been looking at Holness, who, we hope that everything's okay, just because he was creating a lot of space out wide. And then Brody as well. It was kind of interesting. He was taking a lot of moving forward. He was even going into Sandoval's space a bit and, trying to set up shots, trying to get inside of the box. I don't know if there's one player that has really taken it, but he's been effective.
What will be very interesting here, as we've probably got in that neighborhood of 7 or 8 minutes of first half time, is how the teammates react to this. If you're the Monarchs, you've seen one of your friends, one of your comrades go down in a very frightening situation. Now, to me, you come out, you play these last 7 or 8 minutes, then you get to halftime. And halftime will give you a chance to kind of regroup and get your mind refocused for that second 45.
Definitely, and the safety of your teammate is always going to come first. So obviously it's going to be very hard for these players to get their mind back into the game set, back into the rhythm. And you're right, Bill. I think at halftime, I think Coach Juarez is going to talk to him and say, okay, we've had some bad luck, some bad things have happened, and now we have to get back into focus, back into playing out to the wings, back into getting behind St. Louis's defensive third. But that's difficult. That's difficult getting back into the focus and the rhythm, especially after a break and especially when you're worried about a teammate.
So we're looking at about a 10-minute stoppage, back with how much time left? Oh, we'll see how much that is coming up here. You're clearly going to make a substitution here. My thought is perhaps a guy like Oriana might be a guy that comes in for you tonight. You could look at Oriana, maybe even a guy like Sunley, who we saw play last year, as perhaps a likely sub. We'll see who Freddie decides to go with here as that particular substitution, but clearly they're going to be down a man and have to make that late first half sub.
Yeah, and Sunley would bring a lot of energy to that top left corner. It would allow for the team to be able to kind of play to that left side. They've been playing mostly to the right side because that's where the space has been. And, Sudley could add a little bit more speed up top, a little bit more energy, just from coming in the last 10 minutes of the half.
A little bit of a loosening up period here for both teams. Monarchs going through their paces downstairs. It looks like Freddie Juarez has got them ready to go now, and we'll see who he decides to bring on here as that substitution late in the first half. St. Louis FC also loosening on the other side. They've been loosening for the better part of 15 minutes here, keeping loose down below. So we'll see how that all plays out. Again, last 10 or so minutes of the first half is what we've got before these teams head to the locker room with this slightly unexpected medical stoppage here late in the first half at Rio Tinto Stadium.
Both teams trying to stay warm. It's chilly here, so it's easy to get cold.
That's been probably the toughest part about this, has been the chill in the air, and it's looks like it's going to be Alex Sunley that will check in here, number 6, and play in that kind of attacking wide spot in the midfield for the Monarchs. They've got 30. They're saying the 34th minute is where we're at on the first half clock. So we'll have some probably 11 and some change here by the time it's all said and done. Alex Sunley in. Sunley had a good debut a year ago for Freddie and this Monarch side.
You'd see they're trying to drop Sunley back a little more, play a little more conservative, get back in the rhythm. You would hate to give up a counter at this point in time.
Yeah, I think you play it somewhat conservatively just till everybody gets their legs back underneath them.
And just their mind, too. There's a rhythm to the game that's lost when there's an injury or there's a break.
I'll give you a medical update here momentarily on Omar Holness, as he's been taken away by ambulance to Salt Lake Regional Medical Center. Near side, Glad flips it forward. What Real Salt Lake officials are telling us is Holness collapsed with an apparent seizure, and he's now being taken to Salt Lake Regional Hospital and Medical Center for tests and treatment. Any more details we get on that, we'll certainly let you know, but Omar Holness collapsing with an apparent seizure. 35th minute, Monarchs with possession in the back. They roll it near side for Arnone and back to Glad again. As everybody attempts to shake off the rust, get their legs back, churning again, get that blood flowing here on a chilly night in Salt Lake City. Temperatures at kickoff were at about 47 degrees. Probably now down around 42 or 43 degrees.
Oh, it's just that wind bites as well.
Big switch from Glad, far sideline. Ball headed high nicely by Amanakona.
It's in.
Left-footed ball, shot through and behind Sandoval. Devin was poached up on that near post, but the pass went by him from behind. Up the near sideline and out of bounds. A throw in at midfield here for the Monarchs.
Amanakona with great tenacity there. Most people were calling it for to be out of bounds. St. Louis kind of stopped their runs, but that gave them the advantage to be able to cross it into Sandoval. Sandoval not able to get on it, but that tenacity gave a cross-up.
Amanakona was a runner-up for the Herman Trophy at Dayton. You can see why. Great skill and speed with that diminutive frame. Brody to Sturzer. Back to Glad, who rolls it all the way back to Attinella. 36th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Lakawecki up ahead. Sandoval out of bounds off of Big Dev. Throw in far sideline, St. Louis FC. Sunley, who's checked in here for the Monarchs, appeared in 25 games a year ago for Freddy Juarez. Started 18 of those games, had a single goal last season. Native of San Clemente and a Cal Bear. Long ball forward, sent back by Duty the other way. Shuma fouled there. We'll remind you that Real Salt Lake returns to Rio Tinto Stadium Saturday, April the 9th against Dylan Powers and the Colorado Rapids. Kickoff at 7:30 right here in Sandy. The RSL Team Store, Carnival Real, the American First Pavilion opening up early that day. If you want tickets for RSL and the Rapids in the Rocky Mountain Cup, April the 9th, call 801-727-2700. Long ball forward, looking for Shuma. Glad back with him. And out of bounds, touch last.
You know, Bill, you were talking about Shuma earlier, about being your dangerous player pick. And I think it's evident, you know, the fact that he's able to run onto balls that to you and I don't seem playable.
Right. Got a good motor. Here's the ball cleared out by Attinella. Skips through the center circle. Headed high by Cochran. Musa cut down there by Mulholland. And a free kick coming for St. Louis. Quick restart. Bond back to Cochran. 38th minute. And Duty wasn't able to keep it in here on the near sideline. Brody will throw in and play it back to Arnone. All the way back now to Attinella. Switch out wide. Trying to find a Moncona. Couldn't find him.
It appears that St. Louis has become wise to the Monarchs' tactics of moving wide. Now their defensive line's completely spread.
Might have been a conversation their head coach had with them during that medical stoppage. Space ahead, Rankin. Chasing Orozco back. He plays it to Attinella, and Jeff clears it. Collision in the midfield. Mulholland getting a piece of Bushhue. Throw in far sideline. Lakawecki. Pace is slowed a bit here for the Monarchs, as I mentioned. Do well just to play defensively here. Don't do anything crazy. Get to the locker room, regroup a little bit. 39th minute. Lakawecki throws in. Back to the captain, Orozco. Lofts it forward and flicked on by Sunley. He gets his first touch. Held in by St. Louis.
You're right, the Monarchs playing very conservative, looking to play the pass back before they go forward, trying not to force any ball.
Lakawecki getting forward. Defender Musa out on him. Left-footed ball driven in, but nowhere near anybody in red. And the goal kick here for St. Louis. 40th minute as we get a little later here in the first half. If you're just joining us or just tuning in tonight, we had about a 15-minute stoppage for a medical condition. Monarchs rookie Omar Holness suffered what they're calling a seizure, collapsed on the field, was taken off via ambulance, and we're awaiting some more news on his condition here in just a bit. High and long up the center of the park by St. Louis. Flicked on by Bond. Make it Mayer. Out wide, Rankin. Into the attack. Lofted ball, back post. Couldn't keep it on frame. Sailed over the head of Antonella for a goal kick.
Both teams in this game are getting a lot of crosses, but it doesn't seem that any of them seem to be just a hard-driven ball to the six.
Everything's kind of a drifting or lofting ball. And there haven't been a lot of bodies on the other end of them either.
And I'm sure that'll definitely be a coaching point in the locker room. Get on the end of those balls.
Orozco. Up ahead, Lakawecki. Long ball for Sandoval, and Musa read it and sent it out of bounds far side. That could have been dangerous.
That was a great idea. You see if it goes over his head, Sandoval has a 1v1 with the goalie. But again, I think it goes back to that. You can't force anything. If it's not there, play to feet, play back, keep the ball.
St. Louis wanted a handball. They got nothing. Back it comes instead to Orozco. He'll play it across to Justin Glad. Sends it forward, and a flag up here on the near sideline. It looked like either Sandoval or Brody were in an offside position. Bushu back. Cochran ahead. Patrick Duty. Back to Cochran. He's going to let his keeper come out and take it. And a poorly hit ball. The keeper just knocks it out of bounds. Not great communication. A chance maybe here for the Monarchs to steal something.
Yeah, it's dangerous. So close to goal, you have a free throw in.
Sandoval posting up, slipping down. Mayer. Cochran clears. Up ahead, Schuma. 3 defenders on him. Does a nice job to leave that off. Bushu can't control. Glad's got it in back. Look out. Here comes Rankin with a nice slide tackle. Antonella clears it out. Rankin was nearly in.
Good read by Antonella. Recognize that Rankin had his foot on the defense.
Out wide. Amancona, shot just wide, couldn't keep it on frame. Had the keeper out of position, but he shot it wide. It's a goal kick for St. Louis. 43rd minute. And a yellow given. Oh, words being had there between Musa and our referee tonight. And our first booking goes against the St. Louis defender. Well, he's getting his money's worth now on that yellow card, that's for sure. And our first booking against St. Louis FC.
St. Louis has got to be careful there. I mean, the half's going to end in 2 minutes. You play out the half, you play strong, you don't get in the ref's ear.
Or if you do it walking off the field toward the locker room.
Exactly.
Where they're probably more willing to give you a little bit more leeway.
Exactly. Well, and the ref's going to remember that going into the second half.
So a yellow given to Musa. Having a conversation now with Alex Sunley on the pitch.
Sunley doing a great job coming in the last 2 minutes of the game. Stayed in position, stayed with his mark.
Well, you know that, Carla. It's tough sometimes to come in as a first half injury substitution.
Yeah.
In your mind, they always say as a player, be ready to go in at any time. But, you know, you're clearly, if you're coming in the match, you're probably thinking, okay, 60th minute, 65th minute, I might think about it. Oh, and goodness gracious, Brody just absolutely took one off the midsection down below. Oh, you could hear that all the way upstairs, and his teammates having a good giggle at his expense on the bench right now. I think they've all been there. 45th minute as Brody's going to
give him some time, give him some air.
give him a little time to let this thing wear off just a little bit. He's okay. He'll need halftime here soon, too. Hardware can't control. Monarchs do. Hardware wins it back again. Shuma. Oh, gave it back to Rankin too soon. Lakawecki. Amankona back to Lakawecki. Across now to Orozco. Ball knocked out of bounds here on the near sideline for a St. Louis throw. And our referee tells us after 15 minutes of stoppage for a medical emergency earlier, not much more will be added, and that takes us to halftime here at Rio Tinto Stadium. A strange and little disturbing first half of soccer here. Wishing the best for the injured Omar Olness, who collapsed with an apparent seizure. He's on his way to the hospital as we speak. If we can get you an update on that, we'll get it to you certainly coming up here in the next minute or so. But 0-0, Carla, as we get a halftime.
You know, it's hard because you have that break that, you know, where the ambulance came on the field, and you could tell the rhythm of the game completely stopped afterwards. And it's understandable why, but if the Monarchs want to come out and win this game, they're going to have to come out in the second half with a rhythm that flows to the midfield. You know, that's flowing through Mulholland. You know, that he's getting the ball a lot more than he was now. Just because that rhythm is gone, it looks like a pinball machine out there.
Both sides with a little regrouping to do here at the half. We'll talk about some of the halftime adjustments coming up and go over some of the first half highlights as well. At halftime here at Rio Tinto Stadium, it's the Monarchs 0 and St. Louis FC 0. We're back after this.
Monarch Soccer on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700.
Scoreless here at halftime at Rio Tinto Stadium. Bill Riley, Carla Haslam with you here. We had a little bit of a delay if you're tuning in and thinking, well, they should be in the second half by now. We had a medical condition for the rookie for the Monarchs, Omar Holness, the top RSL draft pick in this year's Super Draft, a native of Jamaica. Had what they're saying now is a seizure, Carla. He went down behind a play just outside the St. Louis 18 and it gave us almost a 15-minute delay here while they tended to him. It was scary at the moment because we just simply didn't know what was happening, but all the players on the field at the time were gesturing and motioning, telling the medical staff to get out there, and we were a little bit in the dark on things. Good news is they have him in the ambulance. They're taking him to the hospital. He seems to be stabilized right now.
Definitely, and you know, that's hard for your teammates. You know, they love him, they care about their teammate, and it's difficult to get back into a game when you're worried about, you know, the concerns of one of your friends. I think the Monarchs did a good job of bouncing back. The rhythm was not the same as it was before Holness went down, but I think they did a good job of being just keeping conservative play, keeping the ball, possessing it.
Tough spot for Alex Sunley to come in late in that half, but he did come in, and I thought he acquitted himself pretty well.
Definitely. You know, you read the game when you're on the bench, and you get a vibe for when you're going to go in. You know, you get that energy. But on an injury, it's just like that, and it's, you know, you have to be mentally strong to be able to come in and just zone in. And you're right. I think he did a good job of staying on his mark, you know, not doing anything that would put the team at risk. Just playing very smart soccer.
I'll put you in Freddie Juarez's position right now in that locker room. His team created a couple of chances, but not a lot of chances in that first half. What's the message? How do we open things up in the second half if you're the Monarchs?
Yeah, well, the message he's going to tell them is finish in the box. I mean, they're having opportunities. They've had who knows how many crosses, but finish in the box. Get a touch on it. Get a foot on it. You know, make those crosses hard and driven at the 6 instead of a high lofting ball. You know, we talked about these balls that were going over the net. Hit a hard-driven ball to the 6, and someone get a body on it.
Well, Devin Sandoval has put himself in position to try to get on the end of those. Now it's up to Alex Sunley. It's up to Luke Mulholland. It's up to Andrew Brody to put those services where Sandoval can get to them.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that could be that the fact that they haven't played matches together. But again, you have to put it on somebody's head. And if you can get behind the defense and get to the end line, even better. But someone has to get on the end in the box.
45 minutes of soccer remains here at Rio Tinto Stadium, the regular season USL opener. We'll have that second 45 minutes of soccer coming up straight ahead. Stay with us. We're back to Salt Lake City in just a few.
How about a delicious
chilly Saturday night here in Salt Lake City. The line for hot chocolate out the door at the Twin Peaks Grill here at Rio Tinto Stadium. We've got 45 minutes of soccer remaining in the debut game in USL 2016 for St. Louis FC and the Real Monarchs. Scoreless so far as we welcome you back in. Bill Riley and Carla Haslam with you here this evening. Halftime adjustments, we talked a little bit about them with whatever Freddie Juarez might do, but what about on the other side? What St. Louis, to me, created more offensive looks and put more pressure on the Monarchs back line, but what do you think the message was in their locker room, Carla?
Don't give up the counter. You know, every opportunity that the Monarchs have had are usually on counterattacks. They start on the St. Louis attacking Antonella, and a switch comes over, and now they're on their heels. Don't give up the counter. That's the biggest thing that they're going to need to work on, especially if they don't want to get scored on in the second half.
Temperatures at match time tonight were just below 50 degrees. The sun is set here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the darkness has enveloped our stadium here. It's a beautiful night for soccer. It is a tad chilly. Temperatures probably hovering right about 41, 42 degrees right about now, but actually, you know this from playing. These are great conditions for playing. Once you get warmed up and ready to go, this is almost ideal conditions for you if you're a soccer player.
Definitely. It's easy to keep your energy. I mean, the sun and heat sucks the energy out of you. So if you're a soccer player, you get out there, you warm up, your muscles feel good. You know, it's easy to run forever. It's easy to breathe in the nice crisp air. So for the dedicated fans here, it's a little chilly. They're all bundled up with their sweaters and hoodies. But for the soccer players, it's great soccer weather.
Antonella had a couple of first-half saves, a couple of shots on goal by St. Louis in that first half. Mark Pays only had the one save. Monarchs created 5 total shots, but only the one on frame. So we'll see if they can do a little bit better job of when you create those shots. Make the keeper do a little something, right? Especially on a cold night. We know that we're talking about the players in the field being warmed up, but the keepers are standing put. They can do as many jumping jacks as they want in back, but it's not the same as a field player. So on a cold night when you're not used to these temperatures, test that keeper. Test that keeper just a little bit. Definitely. Here we are underway second half. Monarchs moving right to left across your screen and radio dial. Devin Sandoval on his horse. Testing A.J. Cochran initially in back. Good ball over the top. Couldn't find anything there. Monarchs keep possession.
I love that. What a great way to start the half. Started off going to goal, getting in the box. It sets the tone for your attacking line. Justin
Glad rolls it through the center circle to the captain, Orozco. Now near sideline, Lakawecki. Back to Orozco. He's going to get it all the way back to Jeff Antonella. Just underway, second half here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Good crowd here for an Easter weekend, chilly Saturday night as well. Hope for great crowds throughout the year here to see the Monarchs play.
You know, give credit to those dedicated fans. It's cold here, but they're here for their Monarchs.
And just a little PSA since she's here, Carla Haslam, when can fans see the women play here at Rio Tinto Stadium?
Well, Real Salt Lake women's starting up their season, but the WPSL will begin in the summer, so start looking May, June. They'll be releasing a schedule, and you can come see them here at Rio Tinto or the America First Field or, you know, following fields around the state.
Well, it won't be May here, but you'll see later in the season when that new turf is down. There won't be any soccer here in the month of May.
No, there will not. Yeah, we'll have to be looking for another place to play.
Free kick coming here for St. Louis FC. Musa will walk past it, and apparently the keeper's going to take it himself. 47th minute as we're just underway in the second half of action. Musa will move toward midfield. Keeper waves everybody forward, puts it back in play with a low line drive kick across midfield, sent back the other way by Orozco. Held in by St. Louis. Flicked on nicely by Schuma. And then cleared by Antonella. Good skill by Musa to bring it down. Through the center circle he goes. Tried to thread it forward. And Alex Sunley does a nice job on it. Out wide it comes. Duty sends it forward. Schuma on his horse. Glad is back, puts his body in front, and sends it out of bounds for a throw in far side.
Glad's been so solid this game. I don't remember him ever getting beat. He has a good way of staying in front of the player, containing them. just very solid on that back line. You can tell Jeff Hattinella is talking to him and organizing through him a majority of the time.
Well, they've had a lot of time together. You got to remember Justin Glad spent a lot of time with the senior club, saw some starts a year ago, and so he and Jeff Hattinella probably have a good communication between one another. He's probably the future at center back for Real Salt Lake by the time it's all said and done. Here's a ball sent over the end line and a corner kick coming here. As we've got a player down, it looks like Dixon is down for St. Louis FC after that challenge in back. First corner of the night coming here for St. Louis. I take it back, that was Schuma who got cleaned out by Arnone. So we'll see if St. Louis can take advantage of a set piece opportunity. Haven't had many here tonight. Right-footed service in, top of the sixth, through the back, loose in front and cleared out. Hattinella was out of position. And a nice job by the aforementioned Justin Glad to clear it off the line.
Yeah, that was dangerous. The set pieces make or break you.
Left-footed ball sent in, and again, that time Arnone not taking any chances, sends it over the end line. So back-to-back corner kicks here to begin the second half for St. Louis FC. Right-footed service coming, and a right-footed in-swinger from the far side. Lofted high this time. Through the 18 it goes. A.J. Cochran tried to get on the end of it. Sturzer tracks it down, and out of bounds it goes for a Monarchs throw-in near the corner flag.
And those high lofted balls have kind of become a pattern here. You know, just balls high and low. Hattinella really didn't have to worry about it.
Lakawecki will clear it with a left foot up the near sideline, but it won't stay in. A throw in here for St. Louis FC. Keep up to date with all the USL action all year long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. Amankona, the young Ghanaian player, at the halfway line, pressured there. We'll shove in the back by Bushu. Sunley out wide. Brody broken up, sent forward. Long ball for Rankin. Oh, it hit him in the back of the foot. He was going to be off to the races, and he was onside too. Monarchs have it in back. 51st minute, still 0-0 here at Rio Tinto Stadium.
Still zero and still kind of slow, you know, still moving. You don't get that rhythm or you don't get that feeling that something's going to come soon.
Is the first match of the year, but again, these guys have been practicing and working out for the better part of 2 months.
Well, and especially look at, you know, the players from Real Salt Lake. I mean, these are experienced players that know how to play in big games. You know, they should be able to come and bring the energy. Like
the guy who just took that ball down, Devin Sandoval. Back to John Sturzer up ahead. Lakawecki couldn't keep it in, right in front of Freddie Juarez. And a throw in for St. Louis FC. They're going to let Dixon throw it in here along the near sideline. Monarchs reserves warming up. 2 subs remain here tonight. High and long, Sturzer sends it back in for the Monarchs. Kicked out of bounds by Schuma. Right at midfield, Lakawecki throws in. Sturzer plays it back to Glad. Out wide here, Orozco. Schuma pressuring. Orozco with some time and space. Plays it long and forward. Sandoval with 2 defenders back. Big Dev. Musa in front. Sandoval. Good slide tackle by Musa. And that's going to be a corner kick for the Monarchs. Crowd didn't like it, but that was a terrific tackle by Musa.
Definitely just well timed. You know, he definitely had Sandoval beat coming up.
And you can see it on the replay. Got the ball, cleared the ball, and then Sandoval toppled over the top of him. Near side corner kick. Second of the match here for the Monarchs. Mulholland takes it, couldn't beat the first man, but the first man couldn't clear it. Bushu sends it into the stands. And Mulholland will reload it here. Amankona standing next to him for a short corner if he wants to take it. 53rd minute. Mulholland's going to send this ball in. Lofted ball, top of the 6, punched out
That was a great
by the
ball.
keeper. Kept back in, loose in front. Scooped up just off the goal line by the keeper.
Well, Mulholland redeemed himself by sending a great ball at the top of the 6.
Good chances created there by the Monarchs. Duty forward. Chested down by Schuma. Back to Duty. Forward for Hardware. Tried to slide it through to Redkin, couldn't get it there. Center circle. St. Louis FC continues to control. Bond, long ball forward, lots of space wide. Right-footed ball into the box. One hops up to Athenella. Lots of time, lots of space out wide there for St. Louis FC, Carla.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to figure out, again, we've been saying this the whole game. The space is on the wings, and all of their crosses are coming from that left side for the Monarchs.
54th minute, 0-0, but the game beginning to open up just a little bit here.
No, you can definitely feel a difference in the pace. Both teams, I think, are playing a little more direct, as we just saw right there to Sandoval, and I think they're starting to get antsy. We need a goal. Both teams are moving up their defensive line as well, you know, in hopes of getting numbers up into the attacking third.
Mayer had it go off of a Monarchs defender out of bounds. St. Louis FC will throw in. 55th minute. You can become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Here's Brody. Brody, ball in, Sandoval in front. Oh, Dev couldn't control it. And it went off St. Louis FC. It was Musa who got a touch to it, and another corner kick coming.
Good read by Musa, but that may be the opportunity of the game, right in front of the goal. I mean, Brody did an excellent job of reading it. The texture on it was perfect. The spin on it was perfect. I mean, a 1v1 at the goalie. Things would have bounced one more direction, and that would have been a goal.
Third corner of the half, third corner in the last 3 minutes here for the Monarchs. Fourth of the match. In it comes, didn't beat the first man. Bushu sends it out for a Monarchs throw-in, far side. Good pressure by the Monarchs. Corner of the 18, Sturzer lofts one in, trying to find Sandoval. Well marked. Back out, Lakawecki. All the way back. And Orozco just simply mishit that ball right at his coach. Throw in below us. Dixon throws in up the near side. Sturzer takes it back again. Couple touches for Glad, and he'll switch it out diagonal. Amankona. Good run by Sunley. Alex Sunley lost his footing, lost control. Sandoval trying to keep it in. Mulholland couldn't get there. Lakawecki out wide.
Oh, that's so hard with all those St. Louis players right on the top of the box.
Ball cut in. Amankona. And I don't think his coach was very happy with that decision.
You understand why in that situation you need to keep the ball. If they're parking the bus, setting a wall on the 18, you have to try to go around it, not try to go through it.
'57th minute, still 0-0. And a foul on St. Louis. They get Bond for that foul. Bond, Chad Bond. Back across to Justin Glad.
You know, and I have a feeling that already we've seen more set pieces, more fouls than we have in the first half, in the first 10 minutes. And I have a feeling that's a pattern we're going to continue to see.
Gladden back, pressured by Hardware, Jamil Hardware. Orozco decides to have a run at it and then promptly gives it right back to St. Louis FC. Good decision, just one too many touches there by Orozco. Arnone will track it and play it all the way back to Athenella.
You see St. Louis moving their line of confrontation much higher. Again, they're trying to get a goal. They're in panic mode.
Glad back to Attinella. Coming up on the 1 hour mark in the match. Second half's been a bit more active than we saw in the first half, but if you're just joining us, the first half was disrupted by a medical emergency. Monarchs rookie Omar Holness suffering a seizure on the field. Brought an ambulance out, carted him off into the ambulance and off to a local hospital. No further updates just yet on Holness. Sturzer with a long ball forward, tried to switch it out wide. Read pretty well there, but look out. Amankona, good skill to win it. Leaves it for Mulholland. And backing over the line, Renkin's got it for a goal kick. Good build there. All started by the hustle play of Amankona.
Amankona's starting to become one of my favorite players because he always seems to get the ball and he always seems to be in the right position.
And he's about as tall as you.
And he's about as, you know, I have sympathy for the shorter players. I know how it feels.
Got to use those skills the good Lord gave you, and that's usually speed and quickness.
But you know what?
Is what he's got a lot of that.
He plays big. He plays big. He gets the ball out, has high energy.
Well, Real Salt Lake fans know about that. One of their best players stands about, again, they list him at 5'7". He looks about the same height as Joao Plata. And Plata plays sometimes much bigger than his 5'3" frame. Here's a ball forward to the top of the 18. Too much there for Mulholland. And Pace scoops it up. We've played 60 minutes of soccer. Still yet to find one in the back of the net in this USL regular season debut for the Monarchs and St. Louis FC. I'm Bill Riley. Carla Haslam with me here tonight at Rio Tinto Stadium.
Monarchs starting to get in a habit of just sending the ball forward, and St. Louis is starting to read it. Now they're starting to do an offsides trap, because I think they're starting to read that those direct balls are coming through.
Subs available here in the second half for Freddy Juarez. Eti Tavares, Maicon Oriana, Colin Rolfe, Darian Copeland, Riley McGovern. All available here as second half substitutions for the Monarchs. Big switch out wide again. Nicely done, and a lot of space up that far sideline for St. Louis FC. Cut to the inside, big right-footed ball rolls right up to Jeff Attinella. Good thought, just not enough on that shot from St. Louis.
Well, and Attinella hasn't had to make that many of saves. It seems like every ball seems to be a worm burner or right to his arms.
Too many touches from Sturzer in the counter now. Schuma leaves it wide for Renkin. Renkin with a touch. Plays it back, but right to the feet of Lakawecki. That was a missed opportunity for St. Louis. And here's a ball over the top. Big Dev trying to get on it. Defense back. Sandoval. Three defenders back for St. Louis. Sandoval tried to cut it into Mulholland. And he was well defended there by A.J. Cochran. Big Dev does a lot of things very, very well, but he's not going to outrun a lot of defenders. That's not his strength.
No, you're completely right. I think at that point he should have turned around, turned back, found his teammates, and then they could have recycled the play again.
They keep possession here, though. Lakawecki battling in the back with Dixon. Hardware tracks it. Gets a little shove and a love tap by Sunley in the midfield. And the ball kicked out of bounds, touched last by the Monarchs. Dixon says, give me a second, I'm tying my boot up here. 62nd minute. Follow at USL on Twitter if you're so inclined. Keep up with all the live action during the 2016 season. At USL on Twitter. Looks like we'll be having a Monarch substitution momentarily here. A guy that was a real energy and super sub guy a year ago, Eti Tavares. He will bring speed and pace up top for the Monarchs.
And I think when you're talking about Tavares, energy is the perfect word. Especially right now through the half, you're trying to figure it out. He's going to bring a spark to them.
Sunley getting forward. Clicks it off his heel. Back with duty. Lets it go out of bounds and throws in promptly to A.J. Cochran. 63rd minute, 0-0. Mulholland. Sandoval. Good slide tackle by Cochran again. A risky play there in the middle of the field by Mayer, but he clears it.
It's one of those high risk, high reward type plays.
Left-footed ball, low, line drive right to Lakawecki. We're trying to find Shuma. Out wide again, Brody. Sunley. Centrally now from Mulholland. Back to Sturzer. Across to Orozco. Numbers forward now for the Monarchs. Wide near side, Lakawecki. Amankona. Back to Orozco. He'll try a switch out wide to Brody, but it's read nicely there by Duty.
Yeah, if that can be switched, one or two passes earlier.
Mayer now forward, cuts it back to the inside. Mayer with a touch or two, still on it. St. Louis getting forward now into the attack. Bond. Captain Chad Bond. Back to A.J. Cochran. 65th minute, 0-0. St. Louis now catching their breath and playing some possession. Up the near sideline, behind Arnone it goes. Unable to get to it though, Duty. And a Monarchs throw in. Check out at USL Soccer on Instagram. You can see match highlights there, all the action shots from games and more around USL. That's at USL on Instagram. And Amancona's night is done here. The diminutive Ghanaian will check out of the match, and Eti Tavares will check in here in the 65th minute. Pace for pace, Carla, just maybe a little bit more size and experience now with Tavares in the match.
Yeah, and that experience, and I think the way he plays is a very creative player, I think will give a new energy to the team. There's different types of energy, and I think his ability to be able to create plays, be able to work with his other forwards up top, I think Coach Juarez is hoping that that'll give the Monarchs a little bit of a push, that they can start getting shots on frame.
Arnone and a handball. Free kick coming, St. Louis FC. Eti Tavares a year ago. 28 matches played, started 10 of those matches, 3 goals for the Monarchs. Born in West Africa and Guinea, played collegiately at Arizona Western. Right-footed service into the box, and the flag came up. I think you had Musa, the defender, getting forward in just slightly an offside position.
Yeah, and the Monarchs are doing the same thing that St. Louis are. They're trying to pull that line on any sort of free kick, any sort of direct ball. You saw Antonella right before the kick telling him to push up, get out of my box.
Orozco plays it back to Jeff Antonella. Real Salt Lake backup keeper distributes out far sideline, but overhit that ball. Trying to find Arnone up that far sideline, and a throw in here for St. Louis. Still haven't seen that first sub of the night for St. Louis FC, which is a little surprising here at altitude, but this is about the time you begin to see it. And there's a trip and a takedown as Arnone got to Shuma, and a free kick opportunity coming here for St. Louis. Call it about 26, 27 yards out.
See here, both players going for the ball. Shuma a little bit quicker and gets the foul.
That just looked like a couple of players coming together for me on a 50-50 ball.
Like I said, give Shuma credit for running that hard towards the end of a game. You'd think he'd be exhausted after all the running he's been doing, but ran past Arnone.
Looks like Hardware and Duty will take a look at this thing. A 4-man wall coming here for the Monarchs. Hardware will have a go. Shot, big save at Tanella. Diving to his right, Jeff stops it at the near post. 68th minute, still scoreless.
Good read by Antonella.
Pretty good take, too, by Hardware.
Definitely. That was going towards their post, over the wall. Nice bend to it.
Yeah. I'm not sure that may have gone wide, but beating the wall like he did was nicely done. Here comes Sandoval back the other way, and he's tripped up and taken down. Oh, they're going to say a flop by Sandoval. The referee says play on. And the crowd here at Rio Tinto Stadium not very happy about that no call. Here's Bond.
That's a difficult one.
Big switch near side to Hardware. He takes it down, tries to slide it through Schuma, and the defender down in front, that's Glad, got in Schuma's way. Flag came up either way. Free kick here for the Monarchs. '69th minute. Attanella will put it back in play. Header back, nicely done. Brody to Sandoval. Back to Orozco. Sturzer now. Back to Glad, pressure coming from Hardware. And they play it all the way back to Attanella.
And you can see that defensive line's looking for somebody, but there's not much movement at the halfway line. So they're doing the right thing and just playing back until a forward can make an attacking run.
St. Louis looks to be going to the bench for the first time here tonight as Jeremy Lynch loosens up in front of the fourth official. Here's Musa. Now Dixon. And he's tripped up and taken down. You're going to say out of bounds on Dixon. Sturzer. Lakawecki. Too much for Mulholland. Dixon with a touch and a clear. Hardware trying to spin away from Sturzer, can't do it.
Great defense by Sturzer. I was afraid he was going to get the foul there, but good work of sticking his foot in and getting a touch.
Brody tried to slot that through to Lakawecki, couldn't get it, but Mulholland tracks it down. Back to Sturzer. High lofting ball, couldn't find Sandoval. Well defended by St. Louis. Schuma, long run, Mayer. Cross over hit there by Dixon.
Brody did a good
check
job.
it, Renkin.
Brody did a good job pushing him outside, pushing him away for the goal, waiting for his fellow defenders to come back. I mean, tactically, it was a very good defensive play.
Musa back with Sandoval, well defended again in back by St. Louis. Here's Cochran with pressure from Mulholland. Now Dixon. And back it comes to Renkin. 72nd minute, 0-0. Hardware, center circle for the captain Bond. Big switch out wide.
Starting to see that. That's the fourth time already in the last 10 minutes that St. Louis has played to that far side.
Trying to find Renkin here. They find him here on the near side with a big switch. Lakawecki back. Renkin running at him. Service in, and that's going to be a corner kick. Touched last by the Monarchs. And here comes that sub St. Louis has been trying to make here for the last couple of minutes. Renkin will check out of the match. And Lynch is in. Jeremy Lynch. 73rd minute. Also keep an eye, too. Young man and a goal scorer that they may bring in as well as Irvin Herrera. Scored in their last exhibition match.
And you know, they may be saving for those last 10 minutes when everyone's a little gassed. Altitude has gotten to people.
Third corner tonight for St. Louis FC. Hardware to take it from the near side. Big bodies forward in white. Sent in. And then promptly sent out by the Monarchs. St. Louis keeps possession. Dixon in the center circle. Lofts it back out wide again. Musa with a touch to it. Trying to find Lynch in the box. Takes a deflection, and Attinella scoops it up. Colin Rolfe lacing up the boots and pulling off the warm-ups down below. Tavares in a heady play literally there by Dixon. Outlet ahead. Lofted ball. Can Lynch get on the end of it? Even with fresh legs, that one was overhit.
Well, both teams are playing so direct. You know, in the first half, everyone was going wide. And now everyone's going right down the middle, long ball in hopes of outrunning their defender. But it's found little to no success for both teams.
Here's Glad. Back to Attinella. Outlets to the captain, Orozco. A quarter hour of soccer remains here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Will we find that breakthrough from someone, anyone? Here's Brody. Brody maneuvering through the midfield. Brody out wide to Tavares. Duty out to medium. Tavares. Can't beat the two St. Louis defenders. Well done on that far sideline by St. Louis. Clearance across midfield and up that far sideline and out of bounds. And we'll have our final Monarch sub here tonight. Colin Rolfe. Played last year with the Rochester Rhinos. 6 goals and 1 assist in 25 matches a year ago.
You know they're telling him, go in and get a goal. 0-0. We don't want to start the first game of the season with a tie.
Yep, they're gonna pull Sturcher out of the midfield, put Rolfe in as an attacking player here. He's 25 years old. He was a first-round pick of the Dynamo back in 2012 in the MLS Super Draft. A terrific player collegiately at Louisville. We've seen a few Louisville Cardinal on the field here tonight.
And from the Rhinos as well. Like I said, that soccer community is so small.
Rochester has long been a terrific soccer community. Hometown, of course, of Abby Wambach. Always supported the Rhinos well in USL.
Must be something in the water.
Here's a long ball up the far sideline and over the top. Left-footed service in, sent right back out again. Good read by Musa. Switch to the near side. Brody takes it down. Musa reads it again. St. Louis with a chance to counter. Schum up the near sideline. Good tackle. Ooh, and a late foul. Early challenge here by Colin Rolfe. And Rolfe whistled for that foul. Up the far side comes St. Louis. Around one defender. Can they keep it in? No. And a frustration kick there. Final 2 subs. St. Louis not messing around now as we're in the final quarter hour. Mike Ambersley. And are we going to see that man? We are not. Tyler David in tonight. I thought maybe we'd see Irvin Herrera, but we do not. So Tyler David and Mike Ambersley in. Ambersley will check in for hardware.
St. Louis going all out for the last 15 minutes, getting all their subs in.
And Bushu will check out, and that's where Dixon will go in the midfield. I'm sorry, Tyler David in the midfield.
You know, and adding new players too, there have been the last 3 subs, you know, fairly close to each other. That changes the way St. Louis is going to play as well. The Monarchs are going to have to adapt to that new energy, just new life that comes when you sub in a player.
78th minute. Attinella puts it back in play for the Monarchs. Let's see if this thing opens up, Carla, here in the last 10, 12 minutes and change.
Yeah, both teams just playing very conservative.
Dangerous ball back from Glad, but Attinella gets on it and clears it out near the center circle. Cochran wins that ball in midair for St. Louis. Mulholland ahead, but read well there by Dixon. St. Louis getting a little spread here. They're able to correct and now connect. Dixon gets it back again and plays it back to Musa. He'll roll it across to A.J. Cochran.
You see St. Louis, their coach as well, has been telling Dixon, get up. All in an effort to get players into the attacking third.
There's a shove in the back as Ambersley gets fouled, immediately checking in by Mulholland. Free kick here for the visitors.
Yeah, and those free kicks are so dangerous. When neither team's having opportunities to shoot on goal, you know, my gut feeling is that there's going to be a goal in this game, it'll come off of a set piece.
Lynch just in the match, lined it up, but he will not take this. He'll leave it for Mayer. And now Duty comes forward to have a word with Mayer. Four-man wall being set by Attinella. Last time on a set piece, St. Louis was able to beat the wall but not get it on frame. Here we go. Lofted ball, poorly executed. Easily taken by Attinella. 80th minute now. Eti Tavares up the far sideline for the home side.
10 minutes, this is go time. This is when you move your outside wings forward. This is when you start taking chances.
Orozco will play it back to Attinella. Lynch pressuring. Here's Ambersley. Glad knocks it forward, trying to find a teammate. Now the ball cleared nicely as Sandoval was in the area. Big Dev's done a lot of running, a lot of it by himself up top tonight. He's not really had anybody to team up with. Sunley couldn't dig that out. Cochran's got it in back here for St. Louis. Up across midfield. Out wide for Lynch. Jermaine Lynch to Mayer. First touch of the night for Tyler David. He plays it back midfield. A.J. Cochran pokes it forward to Ambersley. Now Bond. Monarchs take it back. Dixon battles and digs that out from Brody, and then Brody called for a handball.
Yeah, just a series of bad luck. See, the Monarchs, afraid of giving up a goal, brought their four, keeping them really close to each other, one side of the field, all in one straight line. Nike
is a proud partner of USL. Follow @Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest soccer information from Nike and the USL. Proud partner of USL Soccer. 82nd minute, still 0-0. Ambersley. Shuma wants it wide. They find him. Shuma around Lakowecki. Cuts it back to the inside, and nicely done by Orozco. They're going to see out of bounds touch last by the Monarchs. I'll tell you what, Shuma has put in a nice effort tonight for St. Louis.
Definitely. Like I said, he always seems to get the ball, you know, regardless of his position or where he is in the field. Makes her a really fun player to watch.
Dixon throwing in. Out it comes to Musa. Left-footed line drive, sent right back out again. Held in by A.J. Cochran. Look out. St. Louis was about to get spread, but the Monarchs couldn't control it.
Yeah, St. Louis controlling the part of the game right now.
Bond
they seem to have the most possession.
Pokes it forward. Lynch can't control it. Now Mulholland's got it. And St. Louis keeps possession again. Shuma wide. Right-footed ball clipped in, sent out by Glad. Right back to Shuma. He resets. Top of the box it comes. They can't control it. Bond wanted to get a shot off, but the defense was there. Here comes Brody on the counter. Red jerseys getting forward. Mulholland, halfway line. Near side, Sandoval. Big Dev with two defenders in front of him. Sandoval leaves it back for Brody. Brody's going to have a go. Defended well there by David. Sent high. Sundley. Back to Mulholland. Luke plays it wide for Tavares. Tavares in, Sandoval header! Up and over the top.
Great positioning by Sandoval.
Couldn't keep it on frame. Beautiful service from Tavares. And Dev may see that one in his dreams tonight.
Oh my word, definitely. Keeper not in position. Tavares with a perfect ball. Again, the texture on it is perfect. And I think that's what Coach Waters is going to tell him, is he's going to tell him you have to finish your opportunities. They're one in a few, and you have to finish them.
Wholesale subs here late. More fresh legs on. Schuma's night is done. Drew Connor checks in the 84th minute. Oriana and Riley McGovern also getting set to check in here.
Drew Connor with some pretty big shoes to fill.
For Freddie Juarez, yeah. Schuma's, he's understandably probably gassed at this point in time. Nearly 85 minutes of soccer. Lakawecki all the way back to Attinella. High and long up the near sideline. Sandoval gets a touch to it to Brody. 3v3 they run. Brody ahead. And the ball jumps up and gets Rolfe. No handball, but he couldn't control it, and St. Louis counters back the other way. Through ball, but too far through ball for St. Louis. Back to Attinella again. 85th minute. 0-0 still. All USL matches all year long, available live, free, and in HD, as you may be watching tonight on YouTube. Follow the action on the USL YouTube channel all year long. Back to Attinella again. Oriana and McGovern just waiting there with the fourth official trying to get in this match.
Well, and they need it. I think the Monarchs back line's gas. You can just read by their body language. Their shoulders are slumped, but they're putting their hands on their hips. They need that sub.
Here's Glad. Couple of touches. Lofts one forward, trying to find Devin Sandoval. Couldn't do it. Tyler David back to A.J. Cochran, who sends it ahead. Too far for Jermaine Lynch. And out of bounds it goes, and here come those subs here for the Monarchs. May see the end of Luke Mulholland here tonight. Well, once we get those subs, I thought we were going to get them right there, but they played on. Monarchs put it back in play, I think, too quickly to get their substitutes on. My guess would be Oriana probably comes on for Mulholland. We'll see.
You know, and that's difficult. Being a sub coming in the last 5 minutes of a game, really hard to stay focused.
Well, it's hard to find the match. That's what makes good sub players hard to find. A guy like an Alan Gordon, who's been so good for so many years in Major League Soccer, is a late substitution.
You can just jump in the rhythm.
Yeah, to be able to find the match as quickly as some of these guys do is a real skill.
Definitely.
Not a lot of guys can do that, or gals.
Definitely.
87th minute. As they play it back again to the keeper Attinella. Real Salt Lake be back in action next week on the road in Kansas City, taking on Sporting KC. Then back here on April the 9th against the Colorado Rapids. Tickets available at realsaltlake.com or 801-727-2700. Nicely done by Orozco, and he's grabbing that right knee a little bit. Might be cramping up. See that a lot early in the season. Brody through the center circle to Sunley. Alec out wide for Eti Tavares. Tavares into the 18. Tavares, too many touches. Duty out there with him, and that ball crossed the end line for a goal kick. 88th minute.
You know, Tavares wasn't able to, get the ball across or beat his defender, but he's been open the entire time since he's come in the game. You see the coaches are kind of telling him, like, play to the other side, try to switch it from side to side instead of forcing a ball through the seams in the middle or forcing it on a direct play.
Oriana will check in here. And he'll check in the match for numbers all over the place. He'll check in for Brody. Brody's night is done, and I believe Riley McGovern. Well, no, Riley McGovern was going to come in for Luke Mulholland. Instead, he'll come on for Arnaud. So they'll keep Luke out there for the final 4 minutes and change as we're in the 88th minute. And Sam Fink may check in here if we get another stoppage for St. Louis. Rolfe can't get on the end of it. Sent out of bounds by St. Louis FC. 89th minute.
Both teams starting to get a little gas. I mean, you see a lot more balls just played out of bounds. Again, body language is everything. It's those last 4 minutes you have to grind it out, try to get any sort of goal, any sort of set piece.
Well, we've seen that be an issue so far this year with the senior club, Real Salt Lake. A lot of late goals conceded. You got to grind it to the whistle.
And you can't get complacent. You know, I know at this time it's 0-0, but you can't think I'm up a goal. I can take it easy from now.
Duty making his way to the sideline. The time-wasting trot. Sam Fink will check in here as we're in the now 90th minute. Monarchs to throw in on the far sideline.
No one seems to be getting open.
Yeah, Tavares finally does and gets it back to McGovern, who gets it to Mulholland. Lofts it wide again, Tavares. And the ball headed wide and out of bounds by St. Louis.
And man, if I'm Sandoval at this time, I'm just on my toes. I'm ready for any ball that comes bouncing in.
Trying to throw it to him in the box. They get it to him. There's a touch, and Sunley can't control. Well, that ball hopped up, and it got by the defender and right to Devin Sandoval. Here's Oriana. Good step. That is a terrific step in back by Dixon. Throw in here for the Monarchs.
Yeah, I think people are just tired. Nobody's getting open. There's no space.
4 minutes of stoppage time is what we'll have here tonight. Oriana in front of goal! A beautiful setup by Sandoval! And Oriana puts it away! What a finish as stoppage time begins here at Rio Tinto Stadium. The late substitution of Oriana paying big dividends for Freddy Juarez.
Wow, what a goal. Just bouncing around in the box. He gets in there, gets a volley, shoots it right up to the top of the net. No way the goalie's getting on that. That's just an opportunity, girl. Being in the right place at the right time and being ready just to hit it as hard as you can.
An unbelievable finish on a beautiful setup by Devin Sandoval. You said it a minute ago, Carla. If you're Devin Sandoval, you've just got to be ready for anything there. That ball came right to him, and he just flicked it across to Oriana, who finished it clinically to the roof. 1-0, and now St. Louis will have to push. 4 minutes of stoppage time. We're into our first of 4 here at Rio Tinto.
Okay, now you just hold them. Now you just contain and push everything out.
Over the end line it goes, and that's going to be a corner kick for St. Louis.
And this is the hard part too. Your heart's racing. You think you're going to win it.
Well, this is where exactly. This is where you have to be on your toes. Whether it's in regulation or stoppage time, those next 5 minutes are always tough, and then out of bounds it goes.
Yep.
Touch last by Musa.
Yep, you got to bring yourself back. Focus on the task at hand.
Goodness, what a finish here late by Oriana. We'll see if they can make it stand up. 1-0 Monarchs. Be a terrific way to begin the USL season here at home. They finish with 4 of 5 wins to close down 2015. This would be a great way to pick up where they left off last season. Here's Attanella putting it back in play. You see Jeff's time-wasting skills here. See if he learned from one of the best in the world in Nick Raimondo. Held in, Lakawecki out of bounds. They'll say touch last by the Monarchs into our second of 4 added now.
St. Louis now a little panic. You see they're throwing a lot faster. They're playing the ball way more direct. Good position for the Monarchs. Get a team that's frazzled and possess the ball.
Lynch pressuring. Cleared again by Attanella. Flicked on by Tavares. Musa. Have to send bodies long now. Looking long. Ambersley cleared out by Lakawecki. Quick throw in coming here for St. Louis. Dixon. Well defended. And here we go. A good slide tackle out of bounds by Musa. Otherwise, Oriana's off to the races. Throw in at the halfway line here for the Monarchs. And suddenly will just take his time and he'll say, hey, Lakawecki, how about you come up here and throw this in? Let's kill another 10 seconds. And they do. Dixon in back. Oriana gets caught up with him. That's a foul on the Monarchs. Into our third of fourth added now. Big switch out wide. Hops up there. White jersey's getting forward now. They're going to have to send it in. Out wide again. Switch back to the middle. Bond heads it forward. Flicked on. Trying to find Lynch. Instead, it's headed back nicely by Glad to Attinella, and Jeff will scoop it up.
Attinella taking his time, looking at the field. He's in no rush to play the ball forward.
Nor should he be. Kicks this one high and straight up the middle of the park. Held in by St. Louis. As we enter our fourth of four added here tonight. Remember, it's a minimum of 4 minutes. Could be more. Sandoval, after Oriana is cleaned out, they'll play on. Toward the corner flag goes Big Dev, and this is where that big frame of Devins pays dividends. And here's a yellow card going against Chad Bond. He absolutely cleaned out Oriana.
You know, I appreciate the ref, though, trying to play that advantage there. It gives the Monarchs an extra opportunity to get closer to goal.
Big Dev stands over it near the corner flag. Oriana will come forward to take it. Can't be much more than some seconds left in this match now. Devin toward the corner flag again, and that's that. A terrific debut in 2016 for the Real Monarchs. A near stoppage time game winner.
And put it away when it really counts.
By Maicon Oriana, assisted by Devin Sandoval. And the Monarchs escape and begin 2016 on a very positive note, Carla.
What a great way to
Hassel.
start the season. And, you know, that sets the tone and the confidence for the rest of the season. You're always going to base your confidence off of your last performance, and this is definitely one that they can be proud of.
Man of the match for you tonight for the Monarchs was who?
I'm still going to have to go with Amon Kona. You know, like I said, he just brings so much energy to the field. He sets up a lot of his teammates. He wasn't able to find the goal today, subbed off before that was able to happen, but he finds the ball a lot, able to create some new things, has a lot of energy out there. Really helped his offensive line. I'm
going to go with Devin Sandoval. Played 90 minutes tonight, oftentimes by himself on an island, but kept himself sharp. When you said it, the ball came to him.
He's on his toes.
He was on his toes, used that big frame to snap it across, and that was the difference here tonight.
And a lot of that's experience. You know, playing with RSL, you know, he was able to lead his team by his actions, you know, by being ready and on his toes, and that allowed him to get the goal in the very end. Smiles
all the way around here tonight. Maicon Oriana with the game-winning goal as we entered stoppage time. And Freddie Juarez and Real Monarchs begin the season on a very up and positive note. And again, as we watch the replay here tonight, Oriana got his chance and he didn't miss it. That's the key. You know this. You'll get chances, but sometimes you don't get many. So when you get one in a situation like that, you've got to finish it.
Especially when you're the sub. You know, it's easy for the subs to say, oh, well, it takes me some time to get into it. But no, he was ready. That moment came. He only had one moment in the entire game, and he finished it.
Well, that's what we were saying. The key to being a terrific sub and an energy substitution is seeing those chances and taking advantage. And Oriana did, along with the help of Devin Sandoval. So the Monarchs win it here 1-0 tonight. They'll be back in action. We'll have action all season long for you on ESPN 700 and the USL YouTube channel. Real Salt Lake back in action next week. They'll be on the road at Sporting Kansas City and then be back here at Rio Tinto Stadium on April the 9th in a Rocky Mountain rivalry game against the boys from Colorado, the Colorado Rapids. So we'll get to see Tim Howard the national
No, isn't
team
that
keeper,
exciting?
and Jermaine Jones coming over here with the Colorado Rapids.
No, so again, we'd expect a great game, lots of movement, lots of leadership, and people who know what they're doing out there.
Well, for Carla Haslam and our entire crew, including John LaFollette, our producer back at the studio at ESPN 700, I'm Bill Riley, wishing you and yours a very happy Easter weekend, and telling you once again on the opening night of the USL, the Monarchs come away with a 1-0 win over St. Louis FC. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great evening.
Week 1 of the world's greatest.